Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining me for my Try It Out Tuesday. Well, today we're kind of not trying out a stamp set. I'm kind of recreating one. This stamp set here is from Stampendous and it is called Cosmo's Friend. It's a beautiful stamp set and I created a project for Stampendous for their July catalog. And so it's already been tried out and I just love it. And I'm going to recreate the card that I made for the catalog for you guys. So we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to be doing some stamping on some watercolor cardstock today, and I wanted to use some whiter watercolor. So instead of using the C&CT, I'm breaking out the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock. It's a lot more bright white than my C&CT. You'll see here again that I have my card base, and then I have the Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock here, and then this here is my C&CT. You can see it's more of a vanilla color, and so I wanted to use a white card base, so today we're going to use that one. Okay, we're going to tack this down. The stamps are cling stamps, so I had to remove my pad there, and we're going to arrange the Cosmo's Friend florals down the very bottom. And once I'm happy with that, we'll just pick it up and we're going to do some heat embossing. So I'm going to bring in my VersaFine Onyx Black ink and my anti-static powder bag. We'll ink up our image a few times because we are stamping on a textured surface. So just to make sure that we have a nice solid image, we're going to stamp it a few times. Isn't that such a pretty floral arrangement? I just love flowers. I love coloring with all kinds of mediums with flowers. Today we're going to use the Clean Color Real Brush markers. So that's why I'm heat embossing. I'm going to go over my image with clear embossing powder. Before I break out the heat gun, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to use the same ink, and this time I'm just stamping on some white cardstock. I'm going to die cut this out with the tag, so I just stamped it in the center of my cardstock. We're going to add our embossing powder and then go ahead and melt both our sentiment and our flowers. Once that's done, we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. So I'm going to bring in a tag die. Any kind of tag die that you have would work. I've had these in my stash for a while. I'm just going to line it up. Now this was a little too long for what I wanted, so we're going to fix that in just a bit. So I'm making sure the sentiment's going more towards the front of the tag. I'm going to run that through the die cut machine, and then what I'm going to do is to take that same die, I'm going to separate it, and then I'm going to lower it from the top, and then this way I can cut off maybe about a 1/4 of an inch off the very bottom, just to make it look a little bit smaller. I'm making sure that the teeth, it's a stitch tag, so the teeth that are on my tag, I'm making sure that they're connecting with the teeth on my die cut piece, and that way they're not overlapping. But there's my shorter tag. Okay, now for my Cosmo's Friend stamp here, I'm going to be using this beautiful background dies. This is from MFT. It's called the Elegant Rectangle STAX. Creates a beautiful frame, or panel I should say. And then we are ready to do some coloring. So I'm going to zoom in and bring in my zig markers. I'm going to play a little music while I color, and then when I'm done coloring, guys, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done, and I just love the way this turned out. We're going to highlight our flowers with the white gel pen, and so I did use my heat gun to go ahead and dry my my flowers here. And I'm just adding some white detail to each one of them. Now I did notice that the watercolor cardstock and zig markers were a little bit more tougher to blend out the color versus Bristol Smooth. I think that's the best cardstock to use when using your zigs because it just spreads evenly and blends well. Watercolor was just a little bit more difficult to blend, and so I thought the white lines would just kind of help with that transition. But I think they look great. Now I'm going to add 2 eyelets, so make sure that they're evenly spaced. I'm bringing in my T-square ruler. I'm going to mark with my pencil and at the 1/2 inch mark here on the left and the right. And then now we get to bring in our Crop-A-Dile. We're going to punch 2 holes. And then I'm going to secure some black eyelets to each one of those holes. I think the black went perfect with my black outline that we heat embossed. Kind of pulls up that image a little bit. Okay, and after we have this done, I'm going to bring in some twine. I did double it up, and I'm going to thread it through my eyelets. I'm going to bring this from underneath around to the front, and then I'm going to start off by tying the bow a little bit more towards the right, but later on I ended up scooting it over to the middle. I did take a piece of fun foam and using the same die that I used for my background. Actually, I used a size smaller. I cut out my fun foam, and the fun foam that I use is adhesive backed. So all I had to do is add some double-sided tape to one side, and then I can just remove that release paper, and then we can add this foam to the back of our panel. I'm going to place this on an A2 size card base. It's top folding white card base that's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. We'll just place this right in the center. Now I went ahead and popped up my tag with foam tape, and then I tucked it underneath my bow. I kind of cheated a little bit. And then I added some clear sequins. And I don't think I told you what my sentiment says, but we can see here it says, "Thank you for being my friend." Thank you for being my crafty friends, guys. I appreciate all of you. But that's my card for today, guys. Here's some close-up pictures, and then after the pictures I did share my cleanup, and I'm gonna just play a little music while I clean up today. But I thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye-bye.